Okay, by appointing Matt Whitaker as his acting attorney general, the president appears to have installed a Trump loyalist at the top of the Justice Department. For instance, Whitaker has publicly defended Donald Trump Jr.'s decision to take that meeting with Russians to get dirt on Hillary Clinton. Remember the June 2016 meeting at the Trump Tower? Let's watch him on that.
To suggest that there's a conspiracy here, I mean, you would always take that meeting. You would have somebody from your campaign take the meeting to try to get the information. If you have somebody that you trust that is saying you need to meet with this individual because they have information about your opponent, you would take that meeting.
Well, Whitaker also wrote in the 2016 op-ed in USA Today that he would indict Hillary Clinton if he had prosecuted her case. Whitaker also called efforts to pass legislation to protect Mueller's job a mistake, saying you cannot have anyone unaccountable to an executive branch anyway already protected enough. Well, that was his shorthand for it. You're not going to protect this guy, Mueller, from anybody. Most recently, the New York Times reported in September that Chief of Staff John Kelly, this is so cute, privately described Whitaker as, quote, the West Wing's eyes and ears in the Department of Justice. The president has long considered it war with him. So he's been the mole over there for the president, and now he's the top man. Congressman, it's everybody says, well, Trump's going to get stopped. Somebody's going to stop him. Nobody's stopping him.
Well, the American people are beginning to stop him, and I think that's one of the things that happened last night in giving us control of the House of Representatives. And if his ultimate objective is to try to prevent Mueller's investigative report from becoming public, he obviously fails to understand that on January 3rd, when we take control of the House of Representatives, we will have oversight and subpoena power and will not allow him to bury any report and or hide the facts from the American people.
So suppose we don't know what Mueller's going to do. Do you know? Is he going to go to indictments? Is he going to go to a grand jury? Is he going to go to a report? What do you think he's going to do, Mueller, if he's not stopped by Trump?
It's not clear that he's concluded in terms of indictments moving forward. There was definitely a pause as a result of the window inside of the election. We're now outside of the window, and I think that investigation will continue, and we're likely to see some more people held accountable. The law does provide that ultimately he does have to issue a report only to the Department of Justice, not to the American people, because the independent counsel has expired. That's why it was so important for us to take back control of the House of Representatives on the oversight responsibility, because we can prevent them from burying that report.
Mimi, I have a hunch that Trump has very few people he's not willing to dump. Throw him under the bus. He's done it with so many of his people. And then he mocks them afterwards. Look what he did to the Republicans that didn't endorse him or embrace him, as he put it, in the election. He laughed at them. He loves saying you're fired. That's his giggle. His kids are different. It's clear he cares about Ivanka and her husband, Jared. My instinct has been, at some point, Mueller's going to prosecute them because of the Trump Tower meeting and all the involvements they've had, especially the son, Donald Trump Jr., because of the Trump Tower meeting. Trump can't allow his kids to be indicted because people have told him he can't pardon them. So doesn't he have to stop Mueller in his tracks, like right now?
Well, I think that's what he's trying to do. And I think that's why this is, I think, Chris, as bad as him having fired Mueller, maybe even worse. And let me tell you why. First of all, he's done it in this sort of stealth way. I mean, I don't know that I've thought of Trump as a very smart, calculating guy, but he is here now.
He is president. He got there somehow.
Well, we can debate that another time. But
when I walk past Trump Tower here on Fifth Avenue, I don't know about you, but I'm impressed. But he does own that building.
This is a very calculated move that he did. He got this guy in who can now control not only the Mueller investigation, but the investigations in the Southern District of New York into the Trump Organization, any cases that Mueller farmed out to the Eastern District of Virginia.
Whitaker's got all this.
He has got more control now over lots of different arms going into Trump's family, and that is really dangerous. And he's got cover now.
We only got one lawmaker here. Congressman, let me ask you about I've watched the pattern of this thing. Puts in Kavanaugh. Why Kavanaugh? There's a lot of guys around like Kavanaugh. He picked the guy who said, the President of the United States has extraordinary executive authority, and you can't really limit that authority. And then he brings in this guy Whitaker, who thinks the same exact thing. What's going to stop him from just claiming the extraordinary power as President of the United States to do whatever he wants to do with its departments, including the Justice Department? What are you guys going to do about it? Will you impeach him?
Well, we're not going to go down that road right now. We have to allow the process to play itself out. But I think the good men and women of the Department of Justice and the FBI won't allow the type of shenanigans that he may try to undertake to go forward without it being exposed. And now they have an empowered House of Representatives.
But this is their new boss we're looking at.
It is their boss, but they also know that we have a constitutional responsibility to be a check and balance on an out-of-control executive. And the cover-up caucus that had been in charge of the House of Representatives for the last 2 years is no longer in the majority.
I mean, Nunes and company?
Nunes and company. He's the lead one of the cover-up caucus, but there's a whole bunch of them, unfortunately.
Let me go back to Michael. The reporting on this, where is it going tonight and tomorrow? How far Trump is heading in this direction of strategic defense?
Well, that's really the question. And how long would Whitaker be there? Is Whitaker the person that Trump wants to be the attorney general in the long run? Is this someone, is he testing him out here, or is he putting him there hoping to keep him there even if Congress won't confirm the person that he wants? There's just a lot that we don't know here and what the president's true intentions are.
How about Lindsey Graham? Does he want Lindsey in there?
Well,
does he want Lindsey there?
Lindsey Graham, Chris Christie, would those folks come in? And is he going straight for Mueller? Does he want to have Mueller fired? I think that would create a massive reaction that would be negative for the president. The president has some PTSD from the firing of Comey, some real scar tissue there.
He's got 54 senators, too, maybe.
Yeah, it's not clear how the president often likes to do things to distract, and he probably knows deep down inside that yesterday's election was not as great for him as he made it out to be at his press conference.
Chris.
Go ahead, David. Because I see that number of senators is critical to his new confidence in this area. That he doesn't need the 2 women for another confirmation. If there's a choice issue there in terms of a woman's right to choose, he can still operate without Collins and without Murkowski. He's got enough Republican males, to put it bluntly, to get a confirmation.
Chris, we call this the Mueller investigation. But really, it's an FBI investigation. It was started by the FBI. After Comey was fired, the special counsel was appointed to oversee it and run it. But so if you get rid of Mueller, that doesn't necessarily end the investigation. You would have to basically get the FBI to shut it down, to fire all those prosecutors, and that brings the FBI director and lots of other officials into the picture. And the question is, would they go along with it? So I think to truly get away with smothering this, even strangling it budgetarily, speaking, would take a lot of people to go along with that. And if they don't, you could have something that looks 100 times worse than Nixon's Saturday Night Massacre.
So you don't think he'll fire Mueller?
Oh, I'm not sure right away, but I'm not sure he understands this. You get rid of Mueller, it doesn't mean the investigation goes away unless you're willing to order the FBI to shut it down, which is kind of what Nixon, when he lost his presidency over, by trying to shut down the FBI investigation of Watergate.
Well, I know is Trump, and you know him too, David. And everybody else here knows him. And Trump sees the presidency as a family acquisition. He sees the federal government as a family business. And the way he looks at it, perhaps like an organized criminal at times, I think he looks about it this way. There's a mention made of a wartime consigliere here. He wants somebody like that in the Justice Department for him. He's not going to take a licking. He's not going to let his kids go to prison.
You're right. I think
he's not going to let that happen. He will not let that happen. And I'm just watching how many steps will he take to prevent that from happening, because he will take those steps. Thank you, Michael Schmidt, U.S. Congressman Hakeem Jeffries of New York. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chris.
And Mimi Rocha and David Corn.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.